Seriously thinking about it,
Well, welcome to Unleashed, everyone.
huh? Great. I'm just trying to see now, you guys, it has been a minute, but before we officially start, we're a few minutes early, and I just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping here because we do have a guest, and she is sitting in the lobby waiting for us. And I just wanted to make sure that we have our Facebook going because you're going to see me going back and forth because I don't have my J. She's doing some, choir and all the little things. She's getting big now, so she doesn't have time for me. So I don't have her over here working my back room for me. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing some back and forth things here. So you guys are gonna have to just, bear with us here. But thank you. But we are here with our functioning and not seen, the silent mental health crisis in high achieving women. So thank you everyone for episode 22, our live of Unleashed Goddesses Among Us. Oh, wow. Are we about ready?
I
I
think
think
we
we
are.
are. Okay. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome back. Tonight's conversation is one that hits really close to home for more women than people realize because there are women watching tonight who are successful, respected, accomplished, admired, and silently unraveling behind the scenes. Okay? They are showing up at meetings, running businesses, raising children, taking care of everyone else, while emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically exhausted. Tonight, we're going to talk about the silent mental health crisis in high achieving women, the women who look fine in the world, but are rarely surviving internally. And let's let that sit. Kimberly?
Mm-hmm. And the scary part is society rewards women for functioning while we're suffering. As long as you keep producing and smiling and doing all the things, caregiving and showing up, people rarely ask if you're okay. And so many women have become masters at hiding pain while still performing at high levels. All the time. We see it all the time.
Exactly. And tonight's conversation is not about weakness. So let's not get that twisted. It's about awareness. That's our favorite word. I think that's the word of 2026.
Definitely is.
It's the awareness. It's about truth. It's about helping women understand that constantly living in survival mode. Now, can I say that enough? Because we think we are achieving, but we are actually living in survival mode. It eventually shows up somewhere in your body, in your mind, in your relationships. And that's all relationships. I can't tell you that enough. But
Yeah.
in your health, your overall health,
Yeah.
right?
Dr. K, why do you think high functioning women and the anxiety and the depression go unnoticed for so long in women?
Good question. And what I truly believe is because women don't stop functioning ever. Do we ever? You know, they're
We don't
still
stop functioning,
successful.
we don't stop thinking.
Right. You know, still taking care of responsibilities, still trying to get that job done, still being productive. So everyone assumes because we're functioning, we're running, we're still doing, that we're okay. But functioning is not the same thing as emotionally being healthy. It's not the same thing as being okay.
I think many women confuse survival skills with strength because we do just keep going. We're like constant. We don't have a pause or a stop button.
Yes, yes. Survival mode gets glamorized,
Mm.
right? And normalized.
Yeah.
Okay. Women are praised for overextending themselves, for pushing through exhaustion and never complaining. Okay. You're strong. You do it all. You dropped that baby and went back to work the next day. Okay. Right. So for sacrificing themselves for everyone else, but eventually the body starts keeping score.
Yeah, it does. It sure
Yeah.
does. I think too that, we keep going back to what you were saying with the survival mode gets glamorized. I don't think we realize we're in survival mode because we just keep going and keep pushing through. It's the all the outside effort that's being seen, that's what's glamorized. We're not identifying it as surviving. And I think that's where we start seeing the connection too between emotional suppression and that physical illness starts, coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Chronic stress, unresolved trauma starts coming up because it's identifying with that feeling that we're having. The emotional exhaustion, the high cortisol levels that we've discussed before. It doesn't only cause weight gain, right? There's so many other issues that comes out of that. These things really impact the nervous system and your
Mm-hmm.
immune system, your hormones, sleep patterns, your digestive, everything gets
Everything.
affected. Everything, everything. And many women don't realize it because the dysfunction has been normalized for so long,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
You said it.
So let's talk about that and the emotional masking and the significance of it. Why do women tend to hide mental health struggles differently from men? Kimberly, what do you think?
Probably a good handful of reasons, but I think we're just socially conditioned to be that nurturer and to perform no matter what. We're always accommodating, and we just carry that emotional labor. And I think women feel unsafe being perceived as weak. We're constantly on the go, and I think especially with high achieving women, like we can't show weakness because then, especially depending on our position, we can't show that we're being affected by anything like that. And so, instead of breaking down publicly, we compartmentalize inside, which crazy to think that women can compartmentalize stuff, but we do. It might be a slurry of spaghetti noodles, but it's over here, and
Yeah,
you just keep pushing it. I think it's more of a push down, you know?
yeah, that makes sense. It does.
Yeah.
Um,
And we get addicted to productivity because slowing down, we don't have time. First of all, we don't have time to slow down.
yeah,
Nobody's got time for patience.
mhm,
There's no time for that. But
right.
it would force us to start feeling what we've been avoiding. I think that's what it comes to.
That is powerful. You know, that is powerful because busyness can absolutely become emotional avoidance. How many people use that as an excuse not to deal, right?
Yeah.
And on that note, we want to bring in our guest tonight, our special guest, Tracy Casper. Um, she has an incredible story of her own personal wellness journey, and she speaks directly to this conversation. Many of us have went through all these things that we just named and spoke about, but never can relate it to what's going wrong with us. Why are we sick? Why are we hurt? What is the outcome of it? Well, our speaker tonight is going to explain to us how some of these things affected her life and what she did to cure it. Tracy, thank you and welcome tonight.
Tracy, we're so excited for you to be here with us tonight. And um, we're excited to hear how your story is going to help so many women feel seen. And so thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are
Yes.
excited to have you.
Tracy, I wanted to ask you, can you take us back to when you first realized something wasn't right with you emotionally and physically?
Yeah, so it was about, let's say, like 8, 9 years ago now. I was just, I was in my early 30s and I was just feeling like crap all the time. And I went to the doctor, ended up getting diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And I had never heard of it, I didn't know what it was. Um, and so I did what a lot of us do, and I went home and I Googled it. Do not do that.
Yeah.
um, and what I found was people in their early 40s could not work. They could not they could not work out. They couldn't drive. And I was like, this is crazy. This is not going to be me. It's yes, it's a diagnosis, but I'm not going to let that affect my life. It's not going to define my life. So, however, it still took me 2 years to make a change before I was ready to make a change, because the doctors wanted to put me on medication, and I didn't want that to be my story either. So I tried holistic things, but I wasn't really committed. And
Mm,
so finally, after 2 years, I'm like, fine, I'm gonna change my eating habits, um, just so I can show these people that keep telling me that's all I have to do, that they're wrong. And so I did it, and I felt amazing. I felt so good. It was kind of confusing because on one hand, it was like I had realized I got so accustomed to feeling so bad.
Mm.
And on the other hand, I was like, all I did was change my food and I feel this good.
hmm.
So that's kind of where it all started.
Wow. I have two questions that popped into my head. So one is you mentioned that your body, you started just feeling like crap all the time. Can you kind of touch on what those things were that started to come into your awareness like, wait a minute, this shouldn't be my normal. So can you touch on that first and then I'll ask you the next one.
Sure. So I was achy. I was all over. Like you couldn't touch me without it hurting. And that didn't seem normal.
Yeah.
I was so tired. I had no energy. Um, what else was it? I just like brain fog. I mean, it was just not like really anything crazy, like I couldn't walk or anything like that. It was just like this doesn't feel like life should feel like this.
Wow. I think a lot of I mean, I'm literally connecting with you because I'm like, wow, I definitely have felt like that. And there's moments where I still feel like that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of women can connect with just feeling like that. And we start to believe that that is our norm. Maybe we're just, it's the busyness like we were talking about. We're just so in our world trying to do all the things and be all the things to everybody that we think the way we feel is just exhaustion and we don't allow that to become part of our awareness to, hey, we need to make a change. Which leads me to my second question. What was it that, what do you think was your delay? Why weren't you just like gung ho and, oh my God, I got to do the food thing right now? Because that's what I'm being told. Instead, you said it took you 2 years. What was
Yeah.
that and why?
I'm stubborn. And even if you tell me like this is going to change all your problems, I'll be like, no, it's not. So I had to hear it over and over and over again, and continue to feel just that crappy feeling. And when I finally got to the point where feeling crappy was worse than changing, I said, you know what, this is it. And so I just, for me, what I tried was I stopped eating gluten and dairy. I do not suggest that for everyone, but for my body, that's what worked for me. And it helped reduce the inflammation. And so then it helped get rid of my brain fog. I slept better. All my pain was gone. And I wasn't taking any medication. So my mind was just blown.
Right. Tracy, can you identify what you think was the trigger or what was the culprit, I should say, of what caused the autoimmune?
I would love to know the answer to that question, but it's just everyone goes, no one knows. Like, I have a few guesses, like, I was in a couple car accidents or, just stress in life, but it's really, it's, I, it's not something that I get to know. And so, I would love to know though.
Yeah. But it's so, when you say stress, and I know that's a key component, a very key component to autoimmune. And a lot of times it doesn't even it'll lay dormant for years and it'll just pop up out of nowhere, like probably the car accident, and and it was there before. And many women are going through that. What have you done since then to change the stressors in your life that you may have had then, so that it's not something that will, you know, because you can have multiple autoimmunes, let's say that you can have multiple ones. So, can you share, if at all, that you've done things to suppress or to control any of the stress in your life, to change your habits, your daily habits, or even circumstances around you to keep it at bay?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that it would lay dormant because I lost my mom at a very young age and I was very close to her and she was
Sorry to
kind
hear
of my
that.
entire world. And that was at 21. So this was about 12, 15 years after that. And then I had two car accidents and I think my body was just like, warning, warning. Plus I ate terribly. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. Like, I had grilled cheese, pizza, quesadillas for every single meal. I am not saying that that is something you should avoid, but maybe not every day for every meal. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But different habits that I have changed. I've over time, I've pretty much done a full 180, but little steps over time.
Yes.
So I first and foremost was I changed my eating habits and I did what worked for my body. Then once I was comfortable with that change, which again took at least a year, I started reading personal growth books and I started really diving into mindset. And I think that that is 100% the key because after that, I started moving my body, which is where the walking came in. And
Yes.
then I started doing things like affirmations and listening to podcasts like this one and um, journaling and not all at the same time, but I take some turns, do certain things. Um, and now I've been through some other challenges in my life, and I know 100% for a fact that I would not have got through those challenges as well as I did had I not done the mindset work that I did.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things that Kimberly and I are huge on. I mean, until you get it right here, and then you just kind of work your way on down. Your heart's got to be into it, right? And then it all starts to
Absolutely.
work. But you're right. You got to wrap your mind around it. And then, you have to buy into it and you have to be committed. And no one else can do it for you. You have to be committed to it. So that is wonderful. I do appreciate that. Um, Tell us, what does a day look like for Tracy?
Ooh. Okay, so um, not every day, but a lot of the days I will get up around 5 a.m. and I will go on a walk, very not too fast, but I live very close to like a man-made lake, and one loop around is a mile, so I'll do either two or three of those. Then I come home and I am very into my phone. I'm not going to lie about that. But before I let myself touch my phone, I do journaling.
Mm.
And that could be anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. It's really not that long. And I'll take that journal prompt. I have my one journal, I keep it there, and I'll just kind of journal whatever comes out. I don't force it, I just let it flow. And then from there, I'll make my breakfast and then I'll start my workday. Um, Now, through my workday, if I start feeling stressed or like today, the weather was really weird, so I was freezing. And but I saw the sun shining outside. And so I went and I just walked about a half a mile. It took me, I didn't go very fast again, so it took me about 15 minutes. And I got back. I felt so good because I wasn't cold. I was warm again. My head was more clear. And it lifted my spirits as
Mm.
well. Um, and so, like, if somebody doesn't have 15 minutes, maybe they have 2 minutes. Just go outside, get the sunshine or get the fresh air. If sometimes you can't get sunshine, but you do what you can. It doesn't have to be a CrossFit workout every day or
Right.
something like that.
Yes.
Wow. I heard a couple of things when you were sharing right there. And first, I want to say I'm sorry to hear about your mom. That is a trauma that is carried so deeply that 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 triggers a lot of stuff as we go through life because we especially since we think mom has to be there for everywhere
Mhm.
at all the milestones in life. So, my heart goes out to you. And
Thank
but
you.
I know there's a lot of women out there that have been in that same position.
Mhm.
Um, so one of the things I heard you say right now was that getting active with your body is what is also helping you change that mindset. But I want to go back a little bit more first. You keep mentioning that you had to find what was right for your body.
Yes.
I know there's probably a bunch of women out there listening to this that are wondering, well, how did you start that? What did you do to figure out what did work for your body? So, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more about that, I think that would be really huge for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it starts with kind of what you're interested in. If you are not interested in going to the gym, that's not going to stick. And so that's not going to help.
Right.
You force yourself and you hate it. Um, I, totally honest, hated all movement, hated all, like, but this was, I guess, during COVID, during the pandemic, so there really wasn't much else to do. And the only people I was hanging out with were my family, and so we would go on a walk. And I realized that when I went on the walk with them, it made it so much more enjoyable because you're walking and you're talking. So then that's kind of how I found what I love to do. I guess it's trial and error, but it just starts with, do you enjoy dancing? Dancing is a great workout. Again, like I kind of said before, it doesn't have to be CrossFit. Although if you love CrossFit, all the power to you, do that. But that's not what it has to be. It doesn't have to be going to the gym and lifting weights. It's whatever gets you moving.
Yeah.
So that's how I for the movement. And then for what I found works for me for food is again just kind of trying different things until I found the one that really worked for me, which was getting rid of those two categories.
Did you follow different eating plans? I don't like to call things diets because
Yeah.
I don't like the word. But did you follow different programs of eating to see which one might fit? How long did you test things out before you're like, this isn't doing anything for me? Or, oh my God, I feel insanely different with this particular one? Like, was there a time frame?
Yeah, so I mean, I did it initially for 30 days. And it might have been a little extreme because I got rid of dairy, gluten, soy, processed sugars, coffee and alcohol, which I don't really drink anyway. Um, and then at the end, you really introduce those things back one at a time. And then it shows your body how your body reacts to it. And then you get to decide, do I want to endure that or do I want to avoid it? I didn't even do the reintroduction for gluten and dairy because I was feeling so good. Um, although it did take another couple years before before it stuck. So the whole thing for me is that it just takes practice and it takes time, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I truly believe that the faster you get there, the faster that will go away. So I like to create sustainable habits that will stick for your lifetime.
That is really powerful to say that. Anything that's, worth achieving, you do consistently.
Yes.
Even in business, in relationships, it's a consistent practice. And I love that you said that because it's not like we all want the, get rich yesterday. We want to lose the 25, 50 pounds yesterday. Everything was like right now, right now. So seeing where you come from and hearing your story around that to help people realize like, look, it's you're playing the long game. You want to be here a long time? It's a long game. It's a practice. It's a commitment of consistency. And if you have, if you wind up going to your favorite, mom and pop ice cream and you down like a 3-scoop milkshake, you know what? Tonight and in an hour as you're digesting that, it's a new minute. It's a new day, tomorrow's a new day. Start fresh. Like that's the other thing I wanted to bring up is we don't want to guilt ourselves when we do have those moments because look, we're human. It's okay to dabble or enjoy those kinds of things, even if you're cutting it out. What happened though, it sounds like, is you now have this incredible awareness around if I eat this dairy, I'm going to be affected. And then you can make an educated decision of, okay, what's my tomorrow going to be like?
Yes.
Am I going to be on the couch miserable? Or am I going to go walk in and do all the things I want to do in my life? So it gives you even more input to make those decisions.
Exactly. And you brought up something that is a huge part of everything that I do is consistency. And I love to explain that consistency does not mean perfection. Just like you said, you can have your goals and you can slip up on your goals if your goals, let's say, are to change your eating habits and then you do go get ice cream or whatever. You're human. You also do not want to deprive yourself because depriving yourself kind of makes you jump off the deep end. But if you slip up on your goals that you're working on, whether that be for business or for mindset or for your health. Just get back up and do it again. The only way that you fail is when you stop.
Yes.
Consistency does not mean never making any mistakes. Consistency just means get back up and do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, I just love it all. All of it's just viewers, audience, I hope you are sinking it all in because it is all just we all can relate to it. We've all been there. We all can relate to it. And what I love, Tracy, that you did is that you recognized that you needed to make necessarily changes in your lifestyle in order to heal. You recognize that and you set boundaries for yourself. And you set it. And I love that you keep saying, I did it based on what my body needed. So you weren't out there reading the books and doing the latest fad and the latest trend. You said, okay, I need to quit eating the pizza and the grilled cheese sandwich. I need to get the gluten. I need to get the dairy out. I need to kick it to the curb. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to do it baby steps, piece by piece, and see how my body reacts. And I'm going to measure it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And you did it almost like a pro, like you've been there before, right? When you say Kimberly,
I definitely
because
would say
a
that.
lot of us that are going through that have to keep doing it over and over and over again until we, like, God, we're falling down and getting up and we can't figure it out. But it was like after you said, don't Google it, and you're so right. Don't Google it. They tell you you got one foot in the grave, you got to
Oh, yeah.
take 15 different pills, and we can't help you, and you're never going to be right again. Okay. you know,
Literally.
so so you're so right on that. But it's just wonderful that you said, okay, none of this information is helping me. I need to come up what's going to work for Tracy. And I'm going to try these things. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to adjust it and I'm going to keep adjusting it until it does work for me. And that's the beauty of it all. And I think that is the message that on this platform we consistently keep trying to push out to women is that there's no one size fits all.
Exactly.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
Everyone's situation is different. We all may have went through some similar, but it's affected us in so many different ways. Our resources may be different. Our outcomes are going to be different. So, based on that, but you know what? If we all started talking and sharing, we might pick up an idea or we may now realize, you know what, but that doesn't make me weird or different or a freak or I'm not, I mean, hey, it just did something different for her. But we all go through it. We all are going to go through menopause at some point, right? Something is happening, okay? I mean, it's going to happen. And it's just that, but we need to realize that there are people to talk to. This is a community that we can talk, we can share, and we love your stories. If people are out there, I see them out on here. If you got a question for Tracy, put it in the chat on the YouTube. I'm looking at it, and I'll ask her if you got a question. So we can ask her because Kimberly and I are just asking her all her business. So, go ahead and jump in because if you have something that's bothering you or you're going through something right now, you want to know because I've been through it. I have lupus and fibromyalgia. And I had fibromyalgia when they didn't even know what it was. So they told me I was crazy,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing wrong
I
with
I
you. Like,
understand exactly what you mean, Tracy. I
mhm.
understand what you're saying, and it's sad. And so I love to get in these conversations and help women because there's still women who have not spoken about it out loud to anyone, and they're sitting there thinking that the feelings that they're having is because something's wrong with them. And hello, newsflash, there is nothing wrong with you.
No.
Nothing at all wrong with you. We all are going through it. And there's simple fixes to it change of diet, change of environment, holistic medicine, walking, jogging, all the things Tracy just named. They're all beautiful, alternatives that you can do. Swimming, all the different things. Journaling, Kimberly, that is my thing. That is my jam. I do a
Mhm.
whole workshop on journaling. So it's just like I love it. You put everything in there and you just get it out. And it's the most beautiful thing. It's the most healing thing that you can do to start your day off and end your day doing that. So these are all the things that you've shared that are just beautiful to help people through these, because autoimmune, they haven't figured out what caused it. We know it's stress and men.
There's no.
Okay. But you know, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Okay.
Ah, that's awesome.
We know that's what it is. They haven't figured out how to fix it, because then that means they have to leave the planet, and they're not, that's not going to happen. So we're going to
Yep.
forever have it.
Yep.
And based on that, we're going to have to figure out as women and take accountability and take control of the situation and fix us and heal us, right? And that's what we're going to do. And so, in saying that, I mean, let me see if anyone's got bold enough to ask a question.
Well, while you're
I
looking
got
at questions, let me ask you another question.
someone who said hello to us.
Oh, well, we say hello.
Hi.
Absolutely.
Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm looking at questions.
okay, okay. You're the founder of One Small Step. Explain what that is for people.
Yes. So, about 6 months ago, almost 7 months ago, I decided that I needed to create a walking community where people who didn't know where to start could come, they could join. We would just walk and talk, and they would get their steps in. And now throughout the months, it's really blossomed into this beautiful thing where people come mainly now for the connection part of it. And we walk once a month on a beach in Orange County. The beach rotates, and it's a flat paved path, and we're all just talking and laughing, and everyone leaves and they're smiling. But my favorite part of it is when I see the different connections happening.
Mhm.
There's been networking business connections, there's been friendships, there's been referrals, and just you come and you didn't know these people, and then it is at the very core, it is inclusive, because I've been in so many situations where I've been shut out. I'm not biologically a mother. My sister's kids are my kids, and I live 50% of the time at their house. I'm at their house right now, and like my baby nephew called me the other day crying, "I miss you. Come see me." But even so, people don't consider me a mother, so
Mm.
I'm not included in mom groups. And so there was a situation where that happened, and I said, this is never going to be part of my group. It doesn't matter how old you are, what you're going through, you can bring your pets, you can bring your kids. If you want to bring your spouses, you're more than welcome to. But if you want to leave them at home, do that too. Um, but it's more of just a place where you can come and get connected. We also highlight local businesses, for businesses that are looking to get visibility, and then the walkers get discount codes or they get free products. And then they're connected to a business they may not have known about. So it's my little heart.
It sounds amazing, and we will definitely put links out there and everything so people can connect with you. But when you were talking, all I kept hearing in my mind was healing. It's it started from this, I need to walk. Let's get people together to walk, so I'm not walking alone. It's way more fun. And through that, you're not only getting the exercise in, but you're healing, and now you're creating connections. And that, my friend, is absolutely amazing. I love that. Thank you for doing that in the community. That is so huge.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's just I can't imagine not doing it. So I just love
Yes.
it so much.
And it's so
That is so
beautiful to
huge.
watch it
Mhm.
on Instagram and her posts and everything. Tracy, can you share with us when your next walk is going to be? And then too, if you can put it in the chat, that would be great too, where everyone can sign up for the walk and the information. That would be great.
Yeah, so our next walk is June 6th in Laguna Beach. It's at Heisler Park. Free to join. And there is a registration link that I will drop in the chat.
Okay.
But we walk the first Saturday of every month, except next month because that would be July 4th. So it's the second week in July. But all other times, it's the first Saturday of every month.
Great, great. So she's gonna be in my neck of the woods on on Saturday. So I'll be busy. I'll be busy this weekend. That'll be great. Or next
One
weekend.
other thing is that
Yeah.
we're expanding. So we're expanding to Oceanside. Um,
Oh,
so
great.
I
Yeah.
did I did a collaboration with a business down in Oceanside, and then someone that attended the walks realized that they wanted this in their area, and it wasn't something that I have the time and the capability to do. So what I'm looking for are ambassadors who can really portray the mission of One Small Step Walks and get out there and lead the walks. I do all the marketing, the advertising, I get all the people there. I just have the ambassadors show up and lead the walk. So our first one in Oceanside is actually this weekend, and then those will be monthly as well. So if you're listening
Wow.
and you want something in your area and you're not local to Orange County, definitely reach out to me and I can get you set up as well.
That is
Yes.
fantastic. I love that.
That is great. That is great. Please put your contact information too in the chat when you drop the
Mhm.
link in there. And viewers, please reach out to Tracy. I mean, if anything, it's just healing, it's fun, and like she said, it's a connection that you don't even know that you need it yet.
That's for sure.
That's all I could say. You don't even know. You can meet somebody, your new bestie there, your new business venture, or your new retirement buddy. You don't know what it is, but if you don't go and try, if you don't, you don't know. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, um,
Thank
gosh,
you. Thank you.
Tracy,
Yeah.
I'm just so glad that you were able to do this and just put together. I wanted you to come on and talk about it because a lot of people don't understand, especially women. And we say women that are high achieving and they go, well, all women get this, and we always go back to explaining, and it gets to the point where, even for myself, when I got sick. I was running, traveling on the go, doing so many things that even when I knew that I was sick, I didn't want to know that I was sick because there was another board meeting. There was another flight to catch. There was another deal to close. There was something else that was going on. And there was more money to be made, more contracts to sign. It was so much going on. Everybody depends on me, right?
Yes.
So it was all of that going on that you just keep pushing it down, you just keep ignoring it, and you don't want you we just become ignorant and blind to the signs of all the things that are going wrong with you because you're doing all the stuff that you think you're supposed to be doing
Mhm.
as success, as business, as all what mom, wife, significant other, boss, whatever you want to label
Yeah.
yourself as. How about dead? Okay. Did we forget about that? When you ignore all the things that are going wrong with yourself, you can't do any of those things. And what happened to you, what happened to myself, Kimberly went through her own ordeal as well. These things start happening because we're so busy ignoring all those signs. We go through trauma, losing a parent, losing a loved one, those things, and you go through it, and when you don't grieve properly, and sometimes we don't even understand what that is. And and years later it comes and knocks you completely off your feet in the form of so many different illnesses. And this is all about awareness. Again, that's what we do here on this platform, is we want to provide women, all types of women, to come together and use their stories, use their voice to share their stories and to heal. And in hopes that your story may help the next sister in the sisterhood feel free enough to start using her voice to share her story and begin the healing process. And then we just start uplifting each other, similar to what you do with your walk.
I love
And it's a
that
beautiful
messaging
thing. And I want to
so
thank
much.
you.
And yeah, and when I met you and heard about your podcast, it just seemed like it was so aligned, that I really appreciate this opportunity to come on and to share my story with the listeners, and to potentially talk to them. And like I'm an open DM to anybody. When you were mentioning grief, I could talk about grief for hours upon end, because going through it is fun. And so, I mean, anybody that needs that ear, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they can just show
Yeah.
up to your walks too, and
Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
healing process. And I was thinking, when we say high achieving women, it's not always the women that we're thinking that are high up in corporate. To me, a high achieving woman is the woman that's trying to make ends meet to get to be able to feed her kids. It's us that are never able to take a break, let alone even think of taking a break. There's that pause button, stop button doesn't exist for us. And a lot of women have been there.
Right.
I've definitely been there myself, where you're coming up with things in the
Go,
pantry to
go,
make
go.
dinner, and it shouldn't probably go together in a pot, but you're doing it because you got to feed the kids. Like there's those are also high achieving women. So I wanted to differentiate or make sure that we understand that's what we're talking about. It's all of us. We're all striving to
Right.
get to that next day, you know?
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
love what you're doing, Tracy. I think it's incredible. There's so many different avenues. And Cara, you and I mention all the time on every single podcast, I think, that there are so many resources out there. It just, when you're in it, doesn't feel like it. And so that's another reason
Yeah.
why we wanted to bring you on, Tracy, is so we could really just share, like, look, there's stuff out there right in your neighborhood that you can tap into and just start
Yeah.
that healing process and bounce ideas off, like what worked for you, what didn't work for you. Okay, maybe I could try this one, maybe I should try another one, like you were just talking about, Cara. So there's just so
Yes.
many resources for people to tap into, and that's why we love having these conversations. What
Yeah.
Yeah,
um
definitely.
what would you tell women out there right now, Tracy, that maybe are not recognizing quite yet that there might be something going on with them physically? And what would you say to get them started?
If you feel off, that's enough to go
Mm,
with. You know your body, you know yourself, you know your life more than anyone else. So don't let anyone else tell you that
yeah.
to just ignore it. That's how life is. And if there's something on your heart that you want to change or that's not sitting well, you have the capability to do it. You just have to
Mhm.
take that one small step at a time, and eventually, over time, you'll get there.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And one more
Absolutely.
question for you. How would you tell? Oh, I just lost it. I love being live. It's so awesome. So funny. What the heck was I thinking? It was a good one. Maybe it'll come back around.
Mhm.
Go
Yeah, it will.
ahead.
One thing I do want to add, though, to what you were just saying, Tracy, is, I just want all women to understand tonight is that your body is not betraying you. Your body is trying to communicate with you. And I think we get that confused. We get bloated, we swell, we ache, all these things, and we want to blame it on getting old. We want to blame it on getting overweight. We want to blame it because we're stressed or because of whatever the situation is. No, it's trying to tell you something.
Hmm.
And just what you just said, Tracy, if it's off, you got to listen. Start listening to what and you may not have all the answers. You may not understand what it's saying, but take it serious because it can come here and go tomorrow. So yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
I agree with you on that. you know
I remembered. I
We're
wanted to
still
ask
here.
you.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you how much of you getting into that consistent habit do you think was the mental state?
Good question.
Like, what was it for you that you were like, okay, this is a non-negotiable anymore? What got you to that point?
I would say about 99% of everything is mindset and mental.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's and it's not something that you just achieve. You have to constantly work at it, constantly. It's just like feeding your body, you have to feed your mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know exactly what the point was. I, I know that once I started reading, I picked up that first personal growth book. I fell in love with it and just started implementing the little things that they were saying. And over time, those little things amount to the big changes that you want to see.
Love that.
Love that.
It's always mindset. So I wanted you to dial that in a
Yes.
little bit more for us. I know we brought it up earlier, but it's
Bring it
such
back
a
around.
huge piece to everything in life
Yeah.
Yes.
that we dismiss it because we blow it. We can easily just blow past it. Oh, like you just said, Carl. Oh, I'm bloated. Oh, I don't feel good. It must be because
Mm-hmm.
I'm working so hard or doing the thing. No,
Yeah.
your body's talking to you.
Yeah. No,
And
you're
then the
absolutely right.
mindset to be like, no, I need to be aware of this and take that next step, that one small
You're
step.
absolutely right. Thank you for that. And before we close tonight, I wanna pose a question to the viewers that are watching, and for the women that will pick this up and watch it later. Um, you know, Tonight, the women who are exhausted behind the smile, you don't have to earn rest. You don't have to suffer in silence to prove that you're strong.
Mm,
And success is not worth sacrificing your mind, Tracy, right?
mm-hmm.
Not at
Your
all.
body or your spirit.
Mm,
Not one bit. Not one bit. And that's what this was all about. And I appreciate you, Tracy, because the minute you realized all those things were at risk, you took action.
mm-hmm.
You took action. You know, 2 years is not a long time. It's not a long time. There's people that are 20 years going,
Hmm. Yeah.
still woulda, shoulda, coulda. So
Yeah.
you took action, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate all that you're doing for the women that don't even know yet what you're doing for them, but they will soon. They will. They will. They think they just walking.
Yeah.
They think that's all they're doing. They're gonna come back all healed in 6 months, and they're gonna want to know why. So I'm gonna just give you a hand for that, because that's just a beautiful thing. That's really beautiful what you put together, and that is something you need to be praised for. And I want to thank you for that, from the bottom of my heart.
I appreciate that very, very much. And I get a little emotional thinking about it, because I love it, and I'm out there to help others, and that's really my main goal.
Yeah. And it shows. It
Mm-hmm.
shows. Her dedication, it shows. You know, I thought I was all over social media. so so it shows. Yeah. I
That's been a
love
work
it.
in progress too. So let me tell you.
Yes. But it is a job in itself, isn't
Oh,
it?
for sure.
Yeah.
People don't understand. It is literally a 26-hour job. Now you guys do the math. Okay. It is a lot.
8 days a week.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, we want to thank you all again for joining our live. You guys, we're extra, and but we appreciate it, and we appreciate you hanging in there. And thank you again, Tracy. And just remember, she will be dropping her information into the link, which means you're gonna have to circle back around, come back to my page, subscribe, like, and do all the things. Share this episode out, because all women need it. Anybody that says they don't, they're being delulu. Yes, I said that. Said a lot of things tonight, but I mean it, and I love you guys, and everybody have a good evening. And what? Let's all say it together. Be
Be
unleashed.
unleashed.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, babes.